Years ago, settlers called this part of South Texas the Wild Horse Desert. As they tried to make a living in this endless sea of brush, it was the white-tailed deer that provided nutrition. And somehow, over time, it turned into an obsession.
I think I'm fixing to learn what this deer scored. Am I going to win Las Cazadores, maybe?
I think so. I don't know. I've never seen a 9-point that scored 188 and 6/8.
You got to be kidding.
I'm not
really?
kidding.
Holy crud. Dang, thanks. You did good. A 190 9-point, nearly 190?
Almost.
That's awesome.
Had over 39 inches of mass, 3 tines over 12 inches. One was 13.
I'll be hard-pressed to kill the 10-point that scores that. Golly.
Congratulations.
Well, thanks. Appreciate it.
I thought you'd like to get that on camera.
Yeah.
It's a good reaction.
Wow. Wow. We're not politically correct, we just have common sense.
Unscripted, unfiltered, unfaltering. Show of Support's Hunt for Heroes offers tributes and true stories of remarkable courage.
If these terrorists could come in your bedroom, they'd kill you, your wife, and your kids. And that's what these men are fighting to protect us from, these murdering idiots. And they're taking them out so that we don't have to deal with them over here.
Show of Support started it all just after the shock and awe bound a nation together. Now, years of footage portraying wounded veterans, deer stands, and standing ovations. Hunt for Heroes, that started as one man's way to say thanks, is now a series that many say is way overdue.
I ain't never felt like that before, and I want to feel that again.
It's just a raw emotion.
They left us being loved and being honored for the heroes that they are.
We still have 40,000 injured troops.
If you threaten our people and our way of life, we will find you wherever you may be hiding, in the place you feel most safe, and we'll kill you in your own bedroom. Thank you for being a country worth fighting for. God bless you, and God bless the United States of America.
It's going to take a while to get around all of them, but there's no quitting. It'll never stop as long as I'm breathing.
It's ironic that Terry Johnson, the founder of Show of Support Hunt for Heroes, almost never had time to go hunting himself anymore. That's why when a hunt comes along and the time is right, Terry takes full advantage. Only thing is, this hunt at the Shiner Ranch is the last chapter of what turned out to be a lengthy absence.
The first one was a cleansing shot.
And it really begins on another ranch weeks ago.
You mind if I join you?
It was like a 180, you just walk across the road.
I'm getting my stuff out of the truck and I look up and he's halfway down the road. I kind of got to catch up and holler at him to wait on me. But he is Jerry. Love Jerry to death. Only Jerry Johnson heads off to the blind wearing shorts and Crocs. But hey, it is South Texas. And it is Jerry Johnson's ranch. He can do what he wants. So I'm just honored to be here.
It will turn out to be a hunt that started on one ranch, then ended up in another county weeks later. It's a hot day in October here at the Double J Ranch, my place in the South Texas brush.
A couple days before we came on this trip, Jerry called and they had been seeing a deer. I happen to like big 8-points and I've always let everybody know that if I ever come across one, please let me know. Well, Jerry called me and we were just kind of shooting the breeze and then he drops it on me. He's been seeing this big 8-point and oh, by the way, why don't I bring my rifle? He'd like to try to put me on this big 8-point. So literally, I didn't know about my opportunity till a couple of days before we got here. I'm amazed that somebody who's been in it so long and done it so much and has to be totally saturated with the deer world, how he can still find enjoyment sitting out in an afternoon watching deer and watching what they do and their behaviors. And he truly does enjoy all of that. So it's an honor to be able to sit with him.
That's a 3-year-old buck, got a couple more years to go. He's pretty classy looking though.
When a big one steps out, it's new all over again. I love seeing big deer. Love being down in this part of the world, the kind of deer they have and the size that they get to. Don't get to see that all over. This is kind of a unique area of the world.
Whitetail hunting has come a long ways from the old days. Nowadays, the fastest way to get run off a ranch is to shoot a big deer that's still a youngster. South Texas has turned into a place where the full potential of whitetail deer is finally being seen for the first time in history. To say the least, the culture has changed.
I don't know, there's just something about a big old whitetail that you can't, there's nothing like that at all.
If it weren't for Jerry, a lot of the things that have gone good for show of support wouldn't have happened. Jerry eased the way for me to do what I do in a lot of different ways. Jerry's a part of Texas history. He's a whitetail hunting legend. And getting to know him over the last, I don't know, dozen years or so, he's an interesting man, to say the least. The deer Jerry had in mind was generally in this area in the afternoon, and as the afternoon was going on, things were slowing down quick. We could tell we weren't going to see this deer tonight.
If it wasn't for a trail cam picture, Terry would probably think I was a liar. Sounds like a man who just wants to shoot a big 8-point buck is making an easy request. But we're going to have to put in more time as Show of Support Hunt for Heroes continues.
Character, commitment, leadership. It's a way of life for those who've worn the uniform. At Pioneer Natural Resources, we welcome those qualities. Veterans are a great fit at Pioneer, a company that values family, character, and a job well done.
One of the differences about Pioneer is it's a company that wants to hire veterans and wants to show support for the service that they've done for our country.
Contact Pioneer Natural Resources today.
We got down out of the blind, headed back to the lodge, and we pull up, and one of the other hunters that were here had killed an unbelievable deer. This deer had width, mass, points, just a huge deer, huge body deer, real mature deer. I wanted to hear his story and see what they had seen. To see that, I'm ready to get back out and start hunting some more. Jerry was gracious enough to guide me the first evening. The next morning, we had a guide switch. Rodney was going to be my guide. Rodney's a good guy. He's the one that had guided the gentleman the evening before on such a good deer. So I was looking forward to what Rodney had in store. Went to a different area. This deer that they'd been seeing seems to prefer one area in the afternoon, another area in the morning. So we swapped areas and swapped guides, and hopefully my luck was going to swap.
I told Terry this big 8-point buck was an afternoon regular at the tower blind in the east pasture. The buck, it seems, had different plans. Maybe hunting guide Rodney Marbach would have better luck with Terry than I did. As bad as I wanted to be with Terry, I had other irons in the fire. For the short time I got to hunt with Terry, it was an honor. After all, it was more than a decade ago that Terry Johnson created the whole national effort to take combat heroes hunting.
It never was started, it happened by accident, truly did. Back in the very first year after 9/11, once we did the first hunt, people started calling and offering up their ranches and offering their support. It's just something that just kind of took on a life of its own, and it just happened. This year, we kick off the second decade of Show of Support. And up till now, we're at about 425 people have been through this program. I want it to be as personal and one-on-one as I can make it. There are organizations now that take more people per year than we take, but I never wanted to become a travel agent or a booking agent. I want this to be personal and one-on-one, so I can keep this pace up from now on, and so that's what I intend to do.
I love you.
I've got to touch modern history. I've got to shake the hands of those that are living and making history for us right now.
Oh, thanks.
Congratulations, man.
Yeah.
There's a buck.
Oh, man.
Check you out.
I don't know whether to laugh or cry. Oh, my goodness. This is
Holy cow.
And once you do it and once you see what it does for these men and women, you can't stop. Once you've been a part of it, once you've had a piece of their life and been a part of their life for just a little bit, just for a couple of days, it's hard to quit doing it. So, looking forward to many more decades. I love sitting in a blind. I love sitting in a blind watching the sun come up, and I really love sitting in a blind watching the sun come up in South Texas. It's just a tranquil, peaceful feeling. It's a part of the world that I don't get to visit very often, so it's an awesome area down here. It's a whole different flavor of hunting, a whole different lifestyle down here. I just love it.
As the days pass down here on the Double J Ranch in October, Terry and Rodney survey every square inch of the ranch, it seems, using every available minute of daylight just for a glance at one particular deer.
Started getting the feeling this thing wasn't going to happen.
As Terry's time away from the Show of Support office begins to take its toll, his obsession only burns stronger for this buck. And a few days later, after Terry leaves the ranch, this photo surfaces showing a giant 8. Oddly enough, still in velvet, killed in the same spot Terry hunted the last evening at the Double J. Terry finds another hole in his schedule, finds his way to the Shiner Ranch, and finds his crosshairs as Show of Support hunt for heroes continues. deep in the legendary brush country of South Texas. The best whitetail hunting in the world is found at Double J Ranches.
Look at the mass on that deer.
Tower blinds and veteran guides will help you find the buck that up until now are the stuff of dreams. The Double J Ranch Lodge is a place of luxury, surrounded by the thick brush and the lure of trophy whitetails. Go to our website, Double J Ranches. What hunting in South Texas was meant to be. It's now November, and Terry Johnson has taken a last-minute invitation to the Shiner Ranch. It's a place he's taken dozens of combat veterans hunting over the years. For good reason. The Shiner Ranch is one of Terry's favorite ranches in the world.
One of the things I love about South Texas is rattling here in the thick brush. It's one of the few ways you can get these deer out of the thick brush to get a chance to look at them and get a shot on them. So I love coming down here. That's part of the culture here is they do a lot of rattling. But they like to go out in top drives, and this isn't one of their better trucks. This is one of the ranch trucks that's seen its better days. The idea is you get up and get the advantage of height. The idea is to set a rattler a little ways away from you so that the attention of the bucks is drawn to the guy on the ground rattling. And hopefully from a high vantage point, you're able to look down and get a look at these bucks before you're spotted. The very first spot we stopped at, we did a great rattling session, but the deer just didn't respond. Nothing came in.
Christian Hildebrand is Terry's guide for this hunt. In the back of his mind, he's got a big 9-point buck he's hoping to see that's been spotted in this area. Tyler Sekula is their designated rattler.
We were going to move to another location, and this thing decided at this point in time it wasn't going to start. The battery was dead. The morning's warming up on us, and we don't have much time left, so we hooked it on foot to the next location, probably about a half a mile away. We're sitting in a little makeshift ground blind that we started seeing a few deer moving around to our left.
There's a young buck coming out.
It's fun to rattle and see any type of deer respond to your rattling. This was the first deer to respond. Christian's first remark was, we need to take him. These are the type of deer they don't want to propagate in the herd they have around here. So I was kind of hoping to get a shot on this guy.
Terry was itching to do the ranch a favor and kill that 4-pointer, but he never gets the chance. Tyler's noise is bringing in another buck that gets everyone's attention.
There's a big deer right over there, Terry, to the right.
This 10-point, he was absolutely awesome. Wide, heavy, long tine. I looked over at Christian, and Christian was shaking his head no to me. This deer still has 2 more years to go. This was just a 5-year-old deer. No telling what he's going to turn into, but they know how to grow big deer here at the Shiner.
The huge buck is joined by another great, equally impressive animal.
They're with each other, and they're out there displaying and showing their dominance to each other. The guy rattling, as it turned out later, he never saw him. But it was awesome to watch these 2 bucks strut around each other, and they got their hair up, their ears are back, they're walking stiff-legged. It's a little before the rut, but these guys are already figuring out who's dominant. I could certainly visualize the bigger of the 2. There was a big 10-point that looked real nice on the wall in my living room. It's a great buck. It should look good on my wall.
Yeah, that's one that we're going to keep around for a couple more years.
Just as Tyler rises and the trio leaves, a third incredible buck comes out of the brush, catching everyone off guard.
Big deer with a drop.
Holy cow, look at that, look at that.
It's moments like this that can be frustrating and encouraging all at the same time, especially when you're caught out in the open.
Well, that was a good spot. It worked here, so let's go try another spot.
All right.
That worked for you?
Works for me.
All right.
The weather's right, the time's right, and Terry knows he's at the right place as Show of Support Hunt for Heroes continues.
It's a well-known fact the people of West Texas know the importance of hard work, determination, and drive. For years, TCO Field Services has been a part of the expanding petroleum industry. Another well-known fact is the admiration West Texans have for America's troops. Plain and simple, military heroes don't have a better friend than the hard-working folks in West Texas. At TCO, we never lose sight of the job done by our military, keeping us safe here in West Texas.
Smith Industries is a huge manufacturer of oil field storage tanks and heater treaters. With a massive inventory and a fleet of 8 knuckle boom crane trucks, Smith Industries can produce, deliver, and set quickly and safely. When the oil field needs tanks, Smith Industries is there. Smith Industries, Midland, Texas.
Military heroes don't have a better friend than the hard-working folks in West Texas. At TCO, we never lose sight of the job done by our military.
The horn rattling produces some heart-pounding moments over the last couple of days. But Christian Hildebrand knows it's down to the wire for Terry Johnson's second trip to South Texas. And it'll be Terry's last chance to get a hunt in for this season. The Shiner Ranch has come to mean so much to show support. It's a family-owned and family-operated piece of land where the Hildebrands have opened their arms to embrace the wounded heroes. Terry has a group coming down here in a month, and he's got a group of 25 heroes and their wives about to keep him busy back in West Texas. So for a few days here in the South Texas brush, he and Christian begin watching an opening from a ground blind on a warm afternoon.
We hadn't been setting long, and all of a sudden we had some deer moving in, and what really got our attention was a great big 10 started moving out of the brush. To see deer like this, the magnitude of this, it's why I come down here. Still, he lacked one more year before they'd want to hunt him, but still, it was just, I was in awe sitting here getting the opportunity to sit in the South Texas blind with Christian and enjoy everything there was to see, especially looking at this big buck. Now, I was in anticipation of this one deer that Christian had told me about that we'd be looking for. As each deer would emerge from the brush, I would still check to see if he had 9 points, more or less, but I was still enjoying seeing deer. Is that him?
That's him.
Kristen has just confirmed this is the buck we're looking for, and this is the time I fall to pieces. I've got to literally look somewhere else. I've looked at the deer, I've seen what he is, but I can't look anymore. We've got to let him work out in front of us. This is what it's all about. This is the feeling, this is why I hunt. This buck had me going before Christian told me it was one we were looking for. The deer seemed to be calm. He wasn't alerted to us in any way. So I tried real hard not to look at the horns, concentrate on crosshairs on the vitals. What happened? As soon as I pulled the trigger, I knew I'd missed this deer.
Right there.
He's down there. Buck fever's what happened. God dang. But I got him the second shot. Terry, what'd I take? It's a conflict of emotions when you've missed something so majestic, and then within a few seconds you get an opportunity to take a second shot, and now you've completed what you came to do. I hit this buck, I knew I hit him. It's an awesome feeling when a deer grows as you walk up on it. This is one of those deers that the closer we got, the bigger he got. Holy cow.
Oh my goodness.
Look at that. Now we can
Now we can celebrate.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Whoa, look at that hoss. This deer just kept getting bigger. This deer surpassed anything that I had expected. Maybe they had been seeing this deer before, but I was just blown away by everything this deer had to offer. He buried up. Look at that.
He's never been one to take whitetail hunting for granted.
Holy cow.
Terry Johnson started his hunt on the Double J and ended up on the Shiner Ranch. It's a huge buck, and it'll be the only deer he kills this year. But oddly enough, it won't be the highlight of the hunting season. That comes when he has the chance to sit in the blind guiding an American hero, or standing at the bottom of the stairs in a giant convention center and watch a hero receive a free deer rifle, or walk through the mud to shake the hand of a soldier who just shot the biggest buck of his life. Those are life's greatest moments for a man named Terry Johnson.